Here we meet an extraordinary inmate, Ray Breslin, poised to showcase his incredible talents. A fellow inmate approaches Ray with a grave warning about a menacing individual named Jax. This man reveals that Jax is determined to provoke a confrontation with Ray, creating a hazardous situation. The following day, just as foretold, Jax initiates a brutal assault on Ray with a makeshift weapon. However, in a showcase of pure genius and expertise, Ray swiftly subdues him and effortlessly wins the altercation. The disturbance attracts the attention of the correctional officers who come in to intervene. Consequently, they transfer Ray to the secure housing unit, a fortified area for volatile prisoners. You see, this was all part of his brilliant strategy from the outset. Ray is confined to a small, windowless cell containing only a toilet and a security camera. The sole personal belonging he is permitted to have is a simple Bible. Without a moment's delay, the exceptionally resourceful Ray starts formulating his escape strategy. He has already conducted an analysis of the penitentiary's design. He uncovered a crucial vulnerability. The high-security unit is situated directly beside the fire station. By overhearing the officers' conversations, he memorizes their schedules. He ascertains that the isolation block is understaffed, presenting an advantage for him. Over several days, Ray carefully observes the guards' routines with incredible accuracy. He observes that they consistently step outside for a smoke break, lasting precisely 7 minutes. Using this information, he pinpoints the time and method for his breakout. Now, the final hurdle is to decipher the passcode for his high-security cell door. To achieve this, he executes an act of sheer brilliance by peeling a thin film of polyethylene from his milk carton. While being escorted for a walk, he inconspicuously places this plastic film over the keypad. Afterward, by inspecting the fingerprints the officer left behind, he successfully deduces the precise digits in the passcode. With the potential digits known, deciphering the sequence becomes simpler. Meanwhile, Ray has also discovered a clandestine way to communicate with his team on the outside. He embeds a coded message within a letter, directing them to create a distraction. The diversion is scheduled for precisely 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the day of his breakout. He also fashioned small balls of toilet paper saturated in liquid soap for his plan. At last, the momentous day of the escape arrives. Upon returning from his walk, Ray covertly jams the door mechanism with the sticky toilet paper. This ingenious trick prevents the door from securing completely. The instant the gods step out for their smoke break, he enters the correct passcode and slips out of his cell. He moves with astonishing speed, navigating through a vent that leads straight to the unguarded fire station. There, he swiftly dons a firefighter uniform, finalizing his disguise. At that exact moment, his team commences the diversion by detonating a car just outside the prison. As the fire department races to the chaotic scene, Ray makes his exit in the most audacious way imaginable. He secures himself to the undercarriage of the speeding fire engine, a truly pulse-pounding maneuver. Once safely beyond the prison walls, he calmly gets into an escape vehicle driven by his associates. His trusted allies, Abigail and Hush, are there awaiting his arrival. They transport him a short distance and leave him near a phone booth. Still clad in his prison uniform, Ray confidently approaches the booth to make a vital call. A passing squad car notices him, and soon more police converge, surrounding him at gunpoint. Despite the intense pressure, he succeeds in making a call and conveying a secret code. "Showtime," he declares, signaling the last stage of his amazing operation. Soon after, a man named Lester Clark appears on the scene with an authoritative presence. He confers with the officers and provides them with official-looking paperwork. After examining the documents, the authorities have no alternative but to release Ray. Ray and Lester then wait in the warden's office for his reaction. When the warden at last arrives, he instantly begins berating them with absolute rage. It is at this point that Lester discloses the completely astonishing truth. Ray is not a convict, but the co-founder of a security firm named Breslin Clark. Their firm specializes in assessing the integrity of maximum security penitentiaries. His whole occupation is to infiltrate facilities under an assumed identity to determine if they are truly escape-proof. Over time, Ray has cultivated a legendary reputation as the single individual who can break out of any facility. The warden, desperate to comprehend how he achieved this feat, demands all the details. Ray calmly explains that he found the isolation block was adjacent to the unmonitored fire station. He then intentionally made enemies to get himself sent to solitary confinement. The warden is utterly astounded by Ray's incredible intellect and precise planning. He poses one last question about what sort of person would choose this existence. Ray clarifies that while some people are painters or vocalists, his talent is escaping from prisons. Following the meeting, Ray goes back to his office for the first time in 5 months. Awaiting him is a bespoke 3-dimensional puzzle created by his friend Hush. In a remarkable display of intellect, Ray easily solves the intricate puzzle in mere seconds. Hush is left both immensely impressed and slightly exasperated by Ray's brilliance. Meanwhile, his business associate Lester has scheduled a crucial meeting with a CIA lawyer named Jessica Miller. She had read Ray's book on weaknesses in prison security and was impressed. Jessica wants him to assess a new top-secret facility, a challenge unlike any he has encountered before. This facility is designed to contain individuals so dangerous that no government wants them on their official records. The penitentiary is privately owned, and its location must remain confidential. Ray's team is opposed to this perilous idea. They contend that it is hazardous and that something could go wrong. But then Lester reveals a complete bombshell. Jessica is offering millions of dollars for this one assignment. Despite the large sum of money, Ray remains cautious about the mission. However, Jessica maintains that the prisoners inside this facility are not just lawbreakers, they are fiends. Her words cause Ray to rethink his stance on the issue. Against the concerns of his colleagues, he agrees to the deal. Jessica gives Ray a new fabricated identity for the infiltration. He will enter the facility as Anthony Porto, a Spanish mercenary. His sole point of contact on the inside will be the warden, a man named Roger Marsh. If anything goes awry, Ray is directed to give him a special evacuation code to signal for removal. On the day of his infiltration, Hush adheres to protocol and embeds a tracker in Ray's arm. This is to ensure they can track his location as a safety precaution. However, events take an incredibly grim turn when a van abruptly appears and abducts him. A group of masked individuals instantly find the tracker in his arm and viciously remove it. This act makes him untraceable to his colleagues. Before Ray can even process what is happening, they administer a powerful sedative to keep him unconscious. This ensures that the facility's location will remain a mystery to him. At some point during transit, Ray briefly and dazedly regains awareness. He discovers he is inside a helicopter, which is a disorienting experience. He then observes one of the guards savagely injure another inmate and eject his body from the helicopter. Before Ray can comprehend the event, the guards see that he is awake. They administer another dose of sedatives and he loses consciousness again. Ray ultimately awakens to find himself inside the most frightening facility imaginable. He is in a transparent cell, elevated on a platform, visible for all to see. Surrounding him, several other prisoners are being kept in similarly see-through cells. The whole facility is under the most stringent, oppressive monitoring one could ever conceive. Masked guards carrying rifles patrol the area. Mobile cameras monitor the inmates' movements. Shortly, Ray is escorted to meet the facility's warden, a cold and formidable man named Hobbs. This is perplexing for Ray, as he was informed the warden's name was Roger Marsh. His profound disquiet grows as he recalls the terrible killing he saw on the helicopter. Hobbs, unhappy with this information, dismisses him and prepares to depart. In a final attempt, Ray halts him and recites the secret extraction code. This code is meant to ensure his release in an emergency. However, Hobbs simply scoffs at him, crushing all of his hope. The warden icily declares that Ray is merely another prisoner, confined forever. Meanwhile, Abigail and Hush are trying to find Ray's location, but their search is proving challenging. Back in the facility, the prisoners are commanded to the Babylon area, their equivalent of a prison yard. A nearby prisoner takes notice when the warden calls Ray Portos, appearing to recognize the name. On his way to the yard, Ray observes guards savagely striking inmates with total impunity. He realizes that these officers have the authority to break the prisoner's spirits. A short time later, a group of men approach Ray, seeking a confrontation. Ray politely declines their welcome party by quickly snapping one of their fingers. Before the situation can intensify, the prisoner who heard his name intervenes with his own group. His name is Emil Rotmeyer, and he is a truly captivating individual. Emil tries to befriend Ray, but Ray has no interest in making allies. Emil continues, disclosing that he once worked security for a figure named Mannheim. He portrays Mannheim as a genius who takes from the wealthy and gives to the needy. However, Ray stays entirely aloof, displaying no interest in this discussion. In his office, Warden Hobbs reprimands his officer for the death of the prisoner in the helicopter. He coldly informs the officer that the cost of the inmate will be taken from his salary. This is a frightening reminder that this facility functions purely like a cold, soulless enterprise. Back inside, Ray begins to analyze the guards and the penitentiary, looking for vulnerabilities. Emil carries on with his determined efforts to gain Ray's confidence. He even extends his help, presenting himself as the favor man. Ray begins to understand the truth about this location. This is no ordinary prison. It is a clandestine torture facility for the enemies of the affluent. Resolved to discover more, Ray intends to investigate the solitary confinement area. To accomplish this, he must get himself sent to solitary confinement, which is a perilous maneuver. He seeks Emil's help, and Emil readily assists by striking Ray squarely in the face. The two engage in a spectacular stage fight that commands the attention of the entire facility. Observant on the security monitors, Warden Hobbs is clearly amused by the savage spectacle. As intended, Ray and Emil are dispatched to the isolation area, a small torture chamber. The chamber operates like a blistering furnace with incredibly high temperatures. Intense halogen lights glare down on them, designed to disorient and parch. After a full day of misery, a prison physician visits Ray. Ray appeals to the physician's conscience, inquiring about the facility's location. He observes the doctor's reluctance, a sign of his internal struggle. A correctional officer hurries the physician away, but Ray catches their exchange. He understands that this conflicted physician could be the key to his breakout. Meanwhile, Abigail and Hush angrily confront Lester, demanding to know Ray's whereabouts. Under extreme pressure, Lester at last promises to contact Jessica for information. After being let out of solitary, Ray shares a discovery with Emil. He observed the chamber floors are fastened with steel rivets which corrode, unlike more secure aluminum. This implies that if he can somehow extract the rivets, he might discover a way out from below. To accomplish this, Ray asks Emil to obtain a piece of metal he can use to leverage the rivets open. Emil sets a plan in motion to acquire what they need. He informs the guards he is at last ready to provide information about his boss, Mannheim. During the meeting, Emil intentionally taunts the warden by sketching a beautifully detailed yet pointless map. Infuriated by the disrespect, Hobbs commands his men to cruelly torment Emil. Following the terrible ordeal, Emil succeeds in stealing a metal drain cover, a truly brilliant act of theft. Emil provides Ray with the drain cover and demands to know the entire escape plan in exchange. Ray at last confides in him, disclosing his profession and the brilliance of his strategy. He clarifies that by polishing the metal and using it to reflect the heat lamps, they can fracture the rivets. He has also reached a frightening conclusion. The warden utilized Ray's own book to construct this inescapable facility. Ray requests only one thing from Emil, a major diversion at the perfect moment. To create this diversion, Emil approaches a Muslim prisoner named Javed and offends him in the crudest way possible. As anticipated, a brawl breaks out involving many prisoners. Officers rush in and everyone involved is dispatched directly to the isolation chamber. Once inside, Ray instantly begins heating the rivets, remaining just out of the camera's sight. When he is finished, he signals Emil, who starts screaming uncontrollably to create a distraction. Taking advantage of the ideal moment, Ray obstructs his cell's camera with a piece of bread and enters the ventilation system. However, as he navigates the vents, he inadvertently breaks a valve, triggering a flood. When Ray at last emerges outside, he is met with the most stunning sight of his life. The facility is not subterranean at all. It is located inside a massive cargo ship in the middle of the ocean. Understanding the incredible scale of the deception, Ray swiftly retreats back inside before he is seen. Meanwhile, Abigail and Hush find out that Ray's payment for the assignment has been frozen, arousing suspicion. Hobbs finds the missing rivets, and at the same time, he gets a call from Lester. Lester discloses Ray's real identity and directs Hobbs to keep him confined there permanently. It is revealed that Lester is the chief executive officer of this facility and is searching for Mannheim. Hobbs starts breaking Ray down with merciless sleep deprivation and savage beatings. It is during this bleak period that Ray discloses his tragic past about the loss of his wife and son. This disclosure fuels his resolve to not just endure, but to penalize the men who betrayed him. Ray and Emil formulate a new, even bolder plan, beginning by securing the doctor's assistance and determining their location with a homemade sextant. The escape plan is initiated with a coordinated uprising that deceives the security staff. In a valiant final stand, Javed sacrifices himself to give Ray and Emil valuable time. Following a series of fierce confrontations and a dramatic escape through the vessel's water flushing system, Ray is rescued by a helicopter. The ultimate astonishing twist is unveiled. Emil is in fact Mannheim, Jessica is his daughter, and they arrange the whole affair to rescue him, leaving the wicked Lester to a perfectly fitting fate, trapped inside a shipping container.